Room 442 is presented by North Star Bets. That's a win.
And it was a big day for the Champions League quarterfinals as the first leg of the first quarterfinals have passed with Manchester City smashing Bayern Munich at the Etihad 3-0. And a surprise win for Inter Milan here against Benfica at the Estadio de Luz. Sarah Pereira, James Sharman joining me now. James, honestly, this City game was fantastic football from Manchester City and Pep Guardiola.
Yeah, we're just talking about it. Was it the best Champions League performance we've seen from Man City under Pep? And it could well be. I thought they were absolutely superb, absolutely bossed a really good Bayern Munich team. And just seeing Pep being Pep, right? The formations he's using nowadays, and seeing John Stones push in midfield beside Rodri.
Incredible, though. He's made it work.
It's working, right? Yeah, we've seen it in recent weeks. But, I mean, Stones was brilliant, I thought. And Rodri, of course, with that beautiful goal. I mean, you don't get much better than that. I love a goal, cutting in from the right and curling it topside.
The curl.
Oh, beautiful. And what an understated player Rodri is.
I mean, so.
Obviously, as a Spain fan, you know all about this guy, but he is a great player. Doesn't make too many headlines, but just a really intelligent player that can really boss a match when he chooses to, and I think that allows John Stones to do what he does. So we're seeing the centre back in John Stones evolve maybe into a central midfielder now. With the ball at his feet, and it's worked really well. There's no fullbacks in this team, right? Again, 3 centre backs. You got Akanji, you got Ruben Diaz, who was great again.
Yeah.
And Nathan Ake, who might be the most improved player, do you think?
Yeah, he was one of the best.
In Europe or in England, certainly.
He almost scored last night.
He did, yeah. So just a thoroughly enjoyable game to watch for the neutral, not for Bayern Munich fans, who I think were found out a little bit, perhaps.
A little bit. We'll get into Bayern Munich shortly, but I have a stat here. City go 25 games at home unbeaten in the UCL, which is the longest Premier League team run in the Champions League. 25 games unbeaten at home in the Champions League.
Right.
At home.
They've just got to figure out the away record, haven't they?
Yeah, they have to. But
could this be the year, do you think, Sarah?
You know what?
I'm thinking now.
I wasn't thinking they were going to be able to. But if they play like they did against Bayern for the rest of the way, I think that it's some of the best football I've seen this season. And we've seen so much disappointing football, I think, because teams are playing too much football. I'm not blaming the teams. I'm not blaming the players. But I've noticed that it hasn't been to, I think, the level that we're used to seeing.
I agree with you. Yeah, you look at the remaining teams. No one really jumps off the page as being, wow, that's a world-class team. I mean, this Real Madrid.
But then look at them in La Liga.
Yeah, precisely.
It's 2 different sides.
Yeah, it is, exactly. And we thought maybe Bayern was that other team. We were saying before this could be a final, it probably should be the final. Well, Bayern didn't show anything. And they've been up and down this season. They fired their manager, brought a new manager in, of course. So this could be the year. This might be Pep's best chance to win as City coach, and they better not make another mistake. He better not overthink it.
Well, he didn't.
In recent years.
He didn't yesterday. So, I mean, that's a good start, but they do have to go to Munich and play there, which is the Allianz, not a good place to go and play. But we wouldn't be doing any justice if we talked about City without talking about Erling Haaland. 45 goals this season, the most by any Premier League player ever. This is incredible. I mean, you knew it was just inevitable. He was going to get on the scoreboard.
Yeah, that's the way it is now with this guy, right? You expect him to score.
Yeah.
He looks... How do you describe Erling Haaland? Because he looks almost clumsy or cumbersome out there. Awkward, right? Yeah. He's like a deck chair, right? But a deck chair that scores every single game, right? He's bigger than anyone else. He's faster. He's gangly, and his goals are limbs everywhere. But he always gets to the ball. He's just so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's another player in the world right now who's more fun to watch. He might not get many touches, and the whole comparison we mentioned it I think on Monday about the comparison to Messi, which Pep made. And of course, the media, social media blows up, he can't compare him to Messi, and you can't. That wasn't what Pep was saying. But, for a guy with so few touches in a game, there's no one more fun to watch, I don't think, in world football than Erling Haaland at the moment.
Yeah, and I think this game was so good from him, not because of just the goal, but that pass to Bernardo Silva. That entire play, to me, I just sat there and I was like, this is really teamwork. The back flick to Haaland, the run, the cross, Bernardo Silva smashing header into the play.
Bernardo Silva, by the way. I mean, a team's full of so many stars. Some guys get forgotten about a little bit, and he's one of them. And I know he's been linked with a move away this summer. I don't know what he's worth, but it has to be, north of 100 million, because he is just so, what's the word? Cultured, I think is the word they use, right? He's cultured.
Yeah.
He's just a wonderful footballer.
Yeah.
You know, we love David Silva, you know, with City, you know, for so many years. And kind of Bernardo Silva now is kind of filling that role in some regards. I love the guy.
I agree. He's great to watch, and as I said, this was a fun game to watch as a non-fan, just to see some really good football. But it was only brought from one team because Bayern Munich were absolutely miserable. The first half much better than the second. They gave it a good go, but once City picked them apart, they knew exactly what to do and they kept going. And Upamecano potentially might have had his worst game of his career. This is what Thomas Tuchel had to say about that. The second goal shifted the momentum when it was our momentum. It was an individual mistake, a decision-making mistake, and at the highest level in world football, it is brutal. This is a mistake that should not happen at this level in this part of the field. James, some tough words there from Thomas Tuchel to Upamecano. I mean, no names were dropped, but everyone knows
we know
who
it
he
was.
yeah.
Yeah. 3 games in, and he's dropping these bombs on players that should be key to his future there. I mean, that's a brave manager who's pretty secure. Now, in fairness, Upamecano was, I mean, he's a good player. He's a really good player, but that was a terrible performance, and he cost his team. I don't know whether Tuchel should have said that. I don't know, you know, if this guy has got a fragile mentality in Upamecano. I have no idea. Maybe he's one of those guys that needs to be called out. We'll see. But I tell you, for a new manager who's got a reputation of being very prickly, maybe it's a little bit too much too soon.
Yeah.
Maybe it's more, you know, just throw out the old generic quote. And listen, I love these quotes, don't get me wrong. I mean, you shouldn't complain about it, right? I mean, we always ask for managers to be more authentic, and he's being authentic. But yeah, that was pretty damning, I think, because everyone who watched that game knows exactly who he was talking about.
You got to expect the Bayern Munich locker room right now is not a good place to be, with comments like that going around, the players knowing how poorly they played.
You wonder, I mean, if Tuchel comes in, and is he going to have a big cleaning of the house in the summer, right? There's a lot of players that have been there for a while. And they're still a really good team. They're going to probably win the Bundesliga, probably. I mean, respect to Borussia Dortmund. But maybe it's time to move on from some dead wood there. They haven't replaced your boy there, have they?
Okay, so you brought this up a couple days ago, and it was so noticeable how Bayern Munich don't have a striker.
Right.
It was very blatantly obvious, and now I'm really starting to see, oh yeah, they need to go after a striker. They have to.
Serge Gnabry's a good player.
Yeah.
He is, but is he a centre forward? Can he play in that position like the guy before him, who's looking actually quite old right now for Barcelona?
Yeah.
Mind you, maybe it was time to move on, but
Fair.
maybe they should have addressed it. And there's going to be some good strikers available this summer.
Yeah.
And Bayern Munich's destination, so they're going to be a team to watch. They're going to spend a lot of money, I think, this summer under Tuchel as he rebuilds that team, because still there's good youth there. Sane, obviously. Alphonso Davies, pretty good, right? There's some good players there. Musiala is incredible.
Yeah.
So they're still a very good team, don't get me wrong, but maybe it's time to move on for some of those older players.
Yeah, I agree. Just back to Thomas Tuchel, though, he had some other things to say after this match. You know, clearly we're not rewarded for our efforts. Result-wise, it was very tough. Performance-wise, not, Tuchel said. I liked how we played, very happy in the first 70 minutes. We got brutally punished for not a lot, almost nothing. Half an own goal that we conceded from a mistake. We played a very good first half and an even better second half. If we had got the goal we deserved, the momentum could have been shifted. Now, James, I don't know what game Mr. Tuchel was watching, but the idea that, you know, he wasn't too upset with his team. He thought they played a good first half. I mean, a decent 70 minutes.
70? I mean, they were okay in the first half.
Yeah.
But not much more than that, I don't think. They were outplayed.
They were outplayed. And like I said, when City figured out what to do, they just kept going in that direction. And they completely picked this team apart. It's strange for me, Tuchel, to say this, because we have to think, okay, yeah, the Allianz is a tough place to play, and I will not rule Bayern out of this tournament, but 3 goals is a massive deficit. They're out of the cup, knocked out last week. Tuchel's 4 games into this new campaign, and there's a good chance he's already out of the 2 out of the 3 competitions that Bayern are participating in.
Yeah. I do hope there's Chelsea fans watching this. I do, right? And I say that without being too facetious, because when he got fired, right, and you know, it was a shock to all of us when he got fired, but there's so much behind the scenes that went into that firing. But it's as if this guy became, you know, Sir Alex Ferguson, Marcelo Lippi, who, by the way, is 75 today. Should mention that. Shout out to Marcelo Lippi. You know, overnight, right? I mean, he's a good manager, and he's say he's a proven winner. He has won in the past. But to say that he's the second coming of the greatest managers a lot of these Chelsea fans think, I think that's a bit of a stretch. And he's got a job on his hands, clearly at Bayern Munich, right? Because it hasn't been plain sailing since moving in there.
Yeah. You think Tuchel will get sacked if Bayern are knocked out of the 2 out of the 3?
No, I don't
If
think
they don't win the league?
Don't win the league, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder, yeah. I mean, listen, he takes over the job and they lose to Dortmund, right?
No, they beat
they beat Dortmund 4-2,
They
that's right.
lost to Freiburg,
Yeah.
then they beat Freiburg, now they've lost to City.
Yeah, I don't think they fire him, honestly. I think they
Yeah.
have a big picture at play here, and he probably went there and said, listen, I want to do this to this club in this summer, right? And we'll get through this season. And Bayern can lose. They're allowed to lose.
Yeah.
The odd Bundesliga here and there, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
just a state of the Bundesliga, I think, that they win every single year, right? So I think he's pretty safe no matter what happens.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Lots of season left still. You know, somewhere Julian Nagelsmann, though, is having a bit of a chuckle.
Yes.
But on to the Inter and Benfica game. I will admit I have to eat my words here because I thought Benfica were going to smash this one out of the park against Inter, who have proven to be a very uneventful, unreliable side. But James, Inter got the job done. Nico Barella scoring in the second half, followed by Romelu Lukaku smashing in a PK.
Lukaku's looking much better, isn't he?
He is.
Recent weeks, he's scoring goals again. Good for him, because we all know what he can do, but it's been a nightmare, his return to Inter Milan this season. Yeah, that surprised us. Roger Schmidt says, listen, it's 3-0, obviously not ideal, but we can still go back and we can still take care of this. I don't know if they can. I'll be very surprised.
At the San Siro, too.
I know, exactly right. Inter looked so much better than they have done in the last month or so from the Serie A.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's a bit of a statement on the Serie A compared to the Portuguese Superliga. There is a bit of a gap there. Listen,
There
Benfica,
is.
wonderful story, brilliant this year. Porto's a good. We know who they are, the teams there, but it is still the Italian Serie A, right? And I think they are still, head and shoulders above the Portuguese league.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think what's more shocking is that Benfica went back-to-back home defeats at the Estadio de Luz.
Crumbling, Sarah.
They've lost one match in the Primeira Liga this whole season, and now 2 in a row to Porto, their biggest enemies and their rivals, and then Inter in the UCL. And I think
Bad week,
but also I think you're right. They're going to have to go back to Milan now, go to the San Siro, and try and get 3 goals without conceding 1. I mean,
Yeah.
I doubt that, but this was really their game to win. Even a 1-0, like I think it's...
and no away goals now, don't forget as well, right? So they
Yeah.
have to really go for it. And
Yeah.
they'll open it up a lot as well. So I can't imagine Inter Milan blowing this one,
I can't
honestly.
see it either. I
think they're in the
can't.
semi-finals, and good for them. Good for the Serie A.
I mean, you know what? Good for them and good for the Serie A, but I'm still shocked. Like, I don't think... How have Inter I don't know. I mean...
I don't get the Serie A this year at all, right? In any level. Listen, Napoli's brilliant, but are they really that many points better than AC Milan, the defending champions? They've proven it this year, they are, but I don't know what happened to AC Milan. Lazio's lurking there very quietly, having a good season, but no one's talking about them. Inter Milan has slipped in recent weeks. It's a fascinating league right now, the Serie A. It is.
It's shocking that there are 3 Serie A teams in the quarterfinals, because if I watch these games, it's not great football, to be quite honest. And like you said, with the Scudetto winners last year, AC Milan, they've been all over the place this season. It's not consistent whatsoever. And then you look
But
at
the
this.
draw was nice to them, right? I mean, they play Spurs. And we know what's happening there.
We'd love to play Spurs.
Wouldn't you? I think most clubs would in the Champions League at the moment. So, yeah, I mean, listen, maybe it's a renaissance. Maybe Serie A's back. I hope so. Back in the 90s, it was the team, it was the league to watch.
Yeah.
And it's been a really rough 2 decades, maybe. It's been a long time where that has lost its footing compared to the Premier League and even the Bundesliga, rising the way it has.
Yeah.
So I hope the Serie A is back, because something right about Serie A teams being contenders for the biggest prizes. You want to see that. You want to see these teams in finals, don't you? Vintage, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we will see what happens in the second leg. Massive, massive challenges for both for both Benfica and Bayern Munich.
Room 442 is presented by North Star Bets. That's a win.